back. Hey everyone, it's your girl Regina coming at you with another video. It's been a doozy of a month. I had absolutely no motivation to film or read, which is interesting because I only read 2 books, which is nothing compared to what I normally read in a month. I read about 10 books or so, and I've been saying it. I was due for a reading slump at some point, but then I also say that I don't read just to read. I read to enjoy, and it has nothing to do with my Goodreads challenge anymore since I met my 52 book quota back in March. I was also thinking about it. I did a readathon in April. I took a rest in May. June, I did an intense readathon, Percy Jackson. And then July, I was thinking, I might actually read some fun travel-based books, but that never ended up happening. But the books that I did read, or managed to finish, were Longody Days by Arkin Ryan. Longody School Days by Arkin Ryan, and Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. More on that in just a second. Longody School Days was a book written in 1938, and my mom has read Longody Days, and a few Indian friends that I know have read various stories in there. You know, it's a classic in India for a reason. It's about a young boy named Swaminathan and the adventures he gets into. You know, regarding his school friends, his baby brother, or his parents. I had a hard time with this book. It reads as a middle grade book, really. The language is pretty easy, but I had a hard time getting into this book because even though I was born in India, I'm from an Indian background, my family's Indian, and we speak the language, Hindi and Punjabi at home, I couldn't relate to that book because a lot of it had to do with Indian academics. It had to do with such things like talking about religion in schools, like talking about the Bhagavad Gita, like in school, or talking about Jesus Christ. I've been to Catholic school, so I guess I could relate it to that in a bit. Or teachers hitting you, illegal in the United States, or at least in New York since 1985. Then, little things here and there. The biggest thing was that the book seemed like it was a transliteration. Or something like that. It's just something about the writing style. So I did a little bit of digging, because I have no problem reading Indian authors, especially from India. And I've read Kushwant Singh's novels before. Not a big deal. And then I realized that, wait, this guy is from Delhi. He was a journalist. Hence why his English and his storytelling is much more of a preferred style. Whereas Arkin Ryan was from the South. He was someone, I guess. And the English kind of varies there. And even the language of Hindi varies. For example, Swaminathan and his friends, they didn't speak Hindi. They spoke Tamil at home and in their surrounding areas. I gave that book, I believe, 2 stars. That's pretty low. And I think this and one other book were the only 2 low ratings of the year. And next we come on to um, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I read this via Audible, and let me tell you, it's not one of those passively listening. You have to really listen and absorb and understand where the author is coming from. Ta-Nehisi Coates was a journalist, and he always talks about the plight of African Americans, especially in the United States, when it comes to black mothers, fathers, and just the youth. He talks about the fear that African American parents have for their children. Talks about the education system that, despite its well-meaning, often lets down black children because we tend to look at Black history as in just for February, and we go into, well, here's slavery, here's all the cool things that African Americans did in America, but we never really talk in the point of, hey, black people are from a very, very, well, African Americans at least, are from a very rich and diverse continent of Africa, and how Ghana, Namibia, Libya, Egypt, all of these places had rich histories and monarchies. And so when the Britishers, the Congolese, and all of these outsiders started coming in, the continent and the countries were left in disarray. Yes, slavery at first was an African problem, that the tribes would enslave people, but over time the British learned that they could use human beings as a commodity. And since then, the plight of African Americans has been god awful. And there were moments that I was crying, and he talks as a parent, because this book was written as a letter to his son. He said, I'm not going to paint you a rosy picture or a world. I'm not even going to attempt to explain why the world is the way it is, but this is what it is. This is what we gone through, and this is how you're going to work your way into the world. What a beautiful, beautiful book. I cannot recommend this book enough. It's wonderfully written. Have I mentioned it's wonderful? So those are the two books that I managed to finish. Oh, by the way, that book I gave 5 stars. Those are the books that I managed to finish. I tried reading Seasons of the Storm, which was a Beacon Bookbox June book. While I love the premise of it, I just couldn't get into it. 97 pages. It seems really cool. It's just reading slow. So there's that. I also attempted Cursed, because I wanted to do a review of the book and Netflix show. That didn't end up happening because it's not that I DNF'd this book. It's more of I didn't have any brain power or the intention to read a book. It's only a wonder that I managed to read 2 books at all. So I DNF'd 1 book, I read 2, I didn't read 6. So those are my July stats. I don't really do stats, but it could have been worse. It's just, I don't know, I wanted to do my own thing. I traveled a bit safely. I went to go visit my aunt in Maryland, and we saw another family in Maryland for a few days. It was really lovely. The family that we visited had 2 dogs. They were so cute. Yeah, I wanted to do my own thing, like I said. And this leads into August TBR. Now, before I get into the TBR, I do want to let you guys know in full honesty that this is the Harry Potter Newts Challenge readathon that Book Roast has set up. While the video is up, none of it's going to be on Twitter. None of this is going to have an online presence. It's only on Discord. And I want to make it clear that I do not agree with J.K. Rowling's thoughts and views and opinions on transphobia. I believe that trans men and women are men and women. That's where I stand. So with that said, I will be cutting down on my love of Harry Potter after this challenge. I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But at the same time, I accept everyone, no matter where you're from, who you are, what ethnicity, what religion, anything. I am accepting of everyone. Helga Hufflepuff said, I'll take a lot. Alright? So, without further ado, let's get into the books that I'm going to be reading. I do not have my TBR bin ready, so I have the list on my phone, and I will put a picture of the book somewhere up here. So, as you know, I managed to get an O, outstanding, in my Owls challenge. By the way, that was my first readathon I've ever done, so I think it's nice that I'm continuing it just a little bit. And hopefully, I'm going to take what I learned from the Owls challenge and Percy Jackson challenge and learn from it. The cool thing is that I'm only reading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. Really? 1. Oh, no, wait. 7 books, but one of them is a substitution. We'll get into that. I took a picture of exactly what I was supposed to do. So, defense. Oh, okay, I got it. Alrighty. Cool. Alright, so, as you guys know, I got an O in my Owls. I said I wanted to be a Hogwarts professor and teach history and magic. And so this is how the Newts challenge is set up, from my understanding. Whatever score that you get in your main category, like history and magic, you're going to read all of the challenges for it. And then whatever you get for others, you know what? I'm going to link you to Book Roast's video with the timestamp. And that way you guys have a clear idea. And I will also screenshot a picture. Hopefully with me explaining, it'll become a little clearer. So, I'm going to be a history and magic? No, wait, what? History and magic professor. So, 1, I'm going to read a historical fiction. And I'm going to be finishing Lovely War by Julie Berry. But I may substitute that for The Poppy Life. I might. But I'm really liking whatchamacallit, well, we were so far, so I think I'm gonna stick with that. Then, I will be reading a book with mainly black cover, so that'll be House of Dragons or The Odd Sisters. I'm leaning more towards House of Dragons though. And then a book that was recommended by someone who's older than me, and I will be reading A Whole New World by Liz Braswell. Liz Braswell has done a series where she takes popular Disney movies or stories and does a what if. So A Whole New World is based on Aladdin, and it's about what if Jafar was the one who caught Genie's lamp. And so he has already made 2 wishes. He wants to be the most powerful sorcerer and the Sultan of Agrabah. And so now the people of Agrabah are in fear for his 3rd wish. So the street rat, Aladdin, and the deposed princess, Jasmine, have to now lead a revolution against the king. So those are because I got an O, I would have to do O, A, and E prompts. For Defense Against the Dark Arts, I would have to do the A and E prompts. So for one of them, it is horror thriller, and I will be reading Imaginary Friends by Stephen Chbosky. Next, a book with demons or water theme, and I'll be reading Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. And then the following subjects are my books that I chose. I would have to read the acceptable ones for each of these. Charmed, read a funny book. So I will be reading Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. And for Herbology, I'll be reading a book with flowers on the cover, and that will be State of Wonder by Anne Patchett. A substitution that I'll be making, that I may or may not be making, is to read a comic for Muggle Studies, and that will be Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. And yeah, I know quite a couple of these. I own a couple of these, which is great. Lovely War, House of Dragon, The Odd Sisters. Actually, yes, I do own quite a lot of these. The only ones that I do not own are Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, Hex Hall, and yeah, are the ones that I do not own. I will be using the library app that I have, Simply E, and reading it from there. So yeah, that's all I have for August, and I promise to really upload more often. It's been tough. I really enjoy YouTube. I enjoy interacting with you guys. And I know it's not fair that I have however many subscribers I have. I think 55 at my last count. And I know that you all have subscribed to me because you see something in me. And I don't want to let you guys down, you know. So I am truly apologetic. And I hope to be doing a lot better this month, because for one of those reasons, I may be substitute teaching again in September, and I want to get a good rhythm and flow so that my work doesn't suffer and neither does my YouTube hobby and reading. Alright, I will see you guys next time. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I upload as often as I can. Bye-bye.